All right. So this is the slide. First, I'm going to discuss this slide, and then inshallah we will go to the other slides. Okay. Now, what it says in this slide, you see here, I said difference between Kaffara and Fidya. Many people, those teachings, they are confused every time about the Kaffara and Fidya. So here, we need to remember one thing. When we say Kaffara, if you remember, like the very first slide, which I shared with you, the types of fasting, in which I explained the expiation fast. I was telling you the expiation, the Kaffara fast. Now, what is Kaffara? Kaffara, remember, sisters, Kaffara is basically a penalty. It's a penalty from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's mentioned in the Quran. And what is it? Like if someone break a Ramadan fast deliberately, on purpose, so then for those people, the first thing they need to do, they need to free a slave, because nowadays the slavery is not in anymore. So that's why I have mentioned here only. Then they need to fasting 60 consecutive days. So meaning without any interval, any break, they need to fast consecutively for 60 days. Okay, so if they leave any fast in the middle of it, then they will have to start from the beginning. But for women, it's a bit different. For women, because we have normal natural situation, like we have our periods in a month. So once we finish our periods, then we will start from where we left. Okay, so for women, it's a bit flexibility. For men, they have to complete their fast 60 consecutive days. Or if they're unable to fast, like for example, they are too weak to fast, so in that situation, then they need to feed 60 poor people. 60 poor people. And now what they can do, they will have to feed the 2 times meal. For example, they can serve them one lunch and one supper, or they can give them 2 lunch, or 2 supper. It's entirely their choice how they wanna give them food. It's just basically 2 times meal they need to give. Or if they can't, like if they want to give the meal, then they can give them the 2.2 gram of wheat, or 1 sa. And these are the scales which were used in the olden times. So either you can give them the wheat, barley, or the dates, or the currants. Different types of things you can give them, or you can give them the money, whatever you wanna. It's easier for you. So this is the kafara, and the kafara is always when you break a Ramadan fast on purpose. Okay, so like you are fasting for Ramadan, but then on purposefully you eat or you drink or you indulge in sexual intercourse. So in those situations, then you have to pay the kafara. Kafara, the objective of the kafara is basically, so we realize that these are the commands of Allah. We shouldn't make fun of these, number one. Number two, so then when we fast so many days, that it purifies us from the effect of the sin. So this is another reason that we do the kafara, expiation fast. Okay, now the number two, many people, they are confused about this term, fidya. Every time they say, oh, we have the kafara. So kafara is totally different. Okay, so we understand the kafara. Now the fidya is a compensation. When you pay the fidya, when the permanently people incapable to do the fasting anytime in their life, anytime, for example, terminally ill people, elderly people, so those people who can never fast in their life, only those people, they pay the fidya. Okay, and what they need to do, they require feeding 1 poor person per missed fast. So for example, like terminally ill people or very old people, they know like they can never fast in their life. So what they need to do, before Ramadan come, they should pay the fidya. And the fidya, remember sisters, is determined on the price of the wheat, because every year the cost of the these food things is going high. So for example, last year I remember in UK, because we are living in UK, and UK was a £5 for one fast. So now this year, I don't know yet, because the calendar is not out yet. And every time on the mosque calendar, they mention like the fidya is for a fast. So if it's a £5 or £5.50 or £6, whatever it is, it's a minimum, right? It's a minimum. You can pay more than that. Whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you. What's your capacity? You can, financial capacity you can give according to that. But the minimum is a £5 from the last year. I don't know this year. So you can check with your local mosque, and then you can pay accordingly. So if you cannot fast, then for example, if it was a £5 last year, so 5 times 30, it becomes 150. It becomes 150 pound, they need to pay for that, right? So this is called the difference between kafara and fidya. So these are two things you all need to remember, because many people, they get confused about these things. So this is one thing. And then we have another thing. So when you need a qaza and kafara, now this is the most important slide in our like learning for today learnings, because many people, they don't know when we need to do the qaza and when we need to do the kafara. Number one, like I said earlier, if someone eat or drink on purposefully in Ramadan, then they need to do the qaza and pay the kafara also. Both things they will have to do, right? Both things. And then number two is if someone engage in marital relations. So when we say marital relations, remember here, because sometimes some people, they think like just kissing, hugging, it will be like we just have to pay the kafara or qaza. No, marital relation here, it means sexual intercourse. When someone indulge in sexual intercourse, then they have to do the qaza and the kafara. Why? Because they know they are fasting, but still they did this. I mean, though it's a marital relation, it's a marital intimacy, there is no harm in it, there is no guna. But while you're fasting, it's not allowed, it's a forbidden. So if someone does that, they have to do the qaza of that fast and the kafara. And the same, if someone breaks the fast without any valid reason, just like, oh no, I don't want to carry on with, I don't want to continue with my fast. Yeah, no. These kind of things. Then you have to do the qaza and the kafara. And here, this is the bit differences. I mean, masturbation leading to ejaculation. Here, I would say in Hanafi fiqh, it's not, it doesn't break. I mean, it breaks your fast, but you don't have to pay the kafara. So because here, it's just the masturbation. It's not the sexual intercourse, right? So if it's not the sexual intercourse, then only in this situation, the other madhab, Imam Shafi, Maliki, Hanbali, they have their things. They say, oh, it's just you might have to do the kafara. But in Hanafi fiqh, you don't have to pay the kafara. You just have to do the qaza of your fast. Why? Because when it's the ejaculation, then it breaks your fast. So remember this point, sisters.